So I think we'll go ahead and start the meeting. Would you please take roll?
Ms. Atkins? Here. Mr. Hendricks? Here. Mrs. McDaniel? Here. Mrs. Peterson? Here. Mr. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Weilich? Mrs. Shepherd?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the February 7th, 2022 agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Commendation and good news.
I will turn it over to Dave for that.
I shared this with you today. I have several items kind of focusing on the middle school a little bit tonight. Mrs. Baker sent me a real nice slideshow, a bunch of middle school art. But instead of sharing that, I thought I would share her February newsletter. It's really a phenomenal place. She uses this site to kind of manage her classroom, basically. And there's some wonderful pieces of art in here, some wonderful things that she's doing in class. And so I shared that with you, thinking, what a great example of some great student engagement in the fine arts at the middle school. The second item is a focus on middle school show choir. It's not just our high school show choirs that are doing phenomenally right now. Our middle school show choir, for example, Saturday went to Millard and did exceptionally well, as you can tell. They brought hardware home, a gold, and then best in choreography at Millard South. So they are doing marvelously as well. Third item is a tweet. I believe this is a tweet that Mrs. Reynolds did of the PBS student team members at the building that did the filming for the Monday morning meeting a week ago. And more than that, notice their shirts. Isn't that great? So, and in addition to that, then some high school things. was a great tweet from Team Joe by the LC Locos of the yeah, the green out for Joe Miller. So that was tremendous. And then a great article in the Nonpareil. Our boys knocked off Harlan, of course, that night, and so we have at least a share of the conference crown this year in basketball, which is great. And then the last item is a nice article that KMA did on our swimmers. We're sending 3 events to state, 2 relays, and 1 single event also. So things are going well. Just leave it at that.
Kudos to all of our kids that make a run at state. It's always special, and some get recognized more than others. Friday night was really special. Friday night with the green out and the big push for Joe, but to see your rival away team there also sported in the green shirts, it was just a special environment, special atmosphere, and the boys pulled it off. It was an exciting game, so that was really special. I recently had a conversation with one of our colleagues, and we talked a little bit about board meetings and what we say and what we don't always say in these segments where we say good things about kids. And I think it was a valid thought by this colleague, but the idea was that sometimes, I think I'm guilty of this, if something is mentioned and we have a personal connection to it, we tend to speak to it. I think last time, I don't know if it was last time, but one of our recent board meetings, when Jackson's name came up, we were talking about some of the choir stuff. I kind of went on talking about Jackson. I think the same night there was mention of how well our Dave talked about how well our girls wrestling program is building, but we didn't really comment on it. And of course, that's just there wasn't really nobody had a personal connection to that situation. It was still mentioned. Anyway, something to think about in the future, and I with Dr. Hazing being here too, something to think about. I haven't introduced it, and I probably should have, but in past districts, occasionally, a couple times a year, especially when you have a light agenda, we would do like board awards, where you just invite some of those people to come in person, and we have a certificate for them, and just it kind of makes for another way to make sure kids really feel special, that they're getting something and being acknowledged from the board. So just something to think about in the future. But it was a real good conversation I had with one of our colleagues, and I just wanted to share that as well.
Okay, anyone else? Commendation and good news? All right. Comments and suggestions. This is the first time during our agenda that anyone in the audience or anyone that's online will take some chats, can address the board. Okay, we'll go on to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
And with that, a personnel sheet?
We do have one addition to the personnel sheet in section F, and I'll also bring your attention to the contract that we're asking you to consider for a website redesign. It's on the table for you.
Okay, and on our personnel sheet, we have Dr. Brenton Hazing, who is in our audience tonight. It'll be welcome to the first of many board meetings. And, but this will complete the final part with the board approving his contract and to be our next superintendent. And that'll start July 1st, but I believe you and Dr. Knost have already been conversing and talking about things, so I'm sure we'll have a smooth transition.
Absolutely, absolutely. It helps that we knew each other prior, and so there's not really an acclimation period
Right.
between us, and we'll find that balance. He obviously still has to run a school district, and I know what that's like, so we'll look for the things to ramp up as the spring goes on, and his proximity
Yes,
makes for some flexibility this time, so
definitely.
looking forward to it.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Vote, please.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Report 6.01, COVID-related updates.
I'm going to keep this extremely short, and I don't know if that creates concerns about jinxing it, or if just, doing my typical long report would. But the bottom line is we are moving in a really good direction right now, which a couple weeks back it's the fastest any surge has ever taken a dive that we've dealt with. And I think I had shared with the board that our previous all-time high on any given day was November of 2020, when we had 42 positives in the district, and we beat that on January 21. We had 62, which was pretty alarming. And the only thing that really saved us was we were able to do our sub-fill rate was, it was there, but it was a little questionable, and the numbers were kind of spread out all over the district, so we didn't have really a heavy concentration in one building. But things started diving after that. The most we rebounded to, as I think I said last time, was about 30, about half that, and then we dove down, and we've been right between the 10 and 15 mark now pretty consistently for last week, all of last week, a little bit before, and coming into this week. So hopefully that's a good sign that things are getting behind us, and we're looking forward to springtime. Weather gets us excited about that this week. But right now things are good, so we're going to keep doing the things that we've been doing and keep it going in the right direction, and hope that this is getting behind us.
Definitely. That would be great. Okay. Discussion item 7.01, SBRC funding request, which is SWVPP enrollment.
Yeah, we have an opportunity due to the Iowa General Assembly, which is a good thing, in this case anyway, but an opportunity because our statewide voluntary preschool program, we saw an increase in enrollment, which was followed by a decrease in enrollment, which gives us the opportunity to grab some additional funds. So I'll let Andrea talk about the amount and any other pieces that she wants to share with that.
Yes, so the state is allowing for a one-time funding stream from, and it's actually using ESSER funding of $75,883.50 to help offset some of the expenses that we'll have for this year due to the enrollment decrease. So we are seeing less preschool revenue this year, so that will help with offsetting some of that, and then also increasing some of our instructional materials as well that we were not able to purchase, and then to also help create that, or help with the buffer of some of these children not receiving their full education due to COVID.
So it's a good thing.
Yes.
We're glad to accept some additional funds.
Is there any discussion? Okay, 7.02, Corwin Press Inc., training services contract.
Yes, I'll let Dr. Jones talk to this. I'll just set it up for her to just say that she's been putting together some leadership relative to us kind of re-upping our professional learning communities network, if you will, and our structure to lead our district with PLC, something that's been around a long time in Lewis Central, I believe, but as with anything, after a while you need a little refresh on it. And I'll let her talk details to it, but I did want to point out something that I think is important. This is a hefty price tag, and not everyone understands all of the inner workings of school finance and how budgets work. And this is something that's actually very good for our budget, because our categoricals, which include professional development, we were not able to spend those down, which the SBRC wants us to do that. They don't want us to maintain high balances, especially if our general fund goes lower. We know that. We know that's why we had to go visit with the SBRC. But in this case, COVID was really hard on professional development, because we kind of stopped doing it. We stopped sending people places. We stopped bringing visitors in. So this is not only a very good thing, and again, I'll let Dr. Jones speak to the specifics of it and anything she wants to share and answer any questions you may have. But to also keep in mind, this is not money that we could go put on salaries or something like that. This is categorical money, and we need to spend this down anyway. So that's a good piece, and it's some quality stuff. So with that, Dr. Jones, I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Dr. Knost. I'm really happy here to address questions that you have. I try to give you as much information as I can up front. So I'm really here for questions. Our PLC work that we've done, again, as Dr. Knost said, it's been around, I'd say, probably 2 decades. So we call ourselves a PLC district and PLC schools. And I would say that if you ask any of our educators, any of our teachers or administrators that are here in the district, they would say, yes, I belong to a PLC. Maybe I belong to a couple of PLCs. And then if you ask what they do in their PLC, there's slightly different answers. So really, this is a way for us to hit reset. I think that's kind of what you said, Dr. Knost. Just that idea of, yes, we know what PLCs are, yet we have also a long way to go in kind of getting on the same page and just refreshing what we all believe, common vocabulary coming out of it, all those kinds of things. Main purposes of PLCs, there's 2. Most important is improving the learning outcomes for our kids. But the way our professional learning communities, when you're in a professional learning community doing that work, it's around improving the how, your instructional expertise, and also the what, the content knowledge behind what it is you're teaching. So again, we're doing lots of great things in those 2 areas of knowledge and instruction. And this is giving us that opportunity to hit reset, get us all on the same page again. It's interesting, we have a couple of different groups that are already just doing some pre-learning on PLC. Plus is the book that we're going to be using, in the group that is going to be working with us, and the whole idea of what does the plus mean, etc. What I want to point out is doing that pre-learning by doing some learning around this together, doing the book study. They're already coming to terms, some of our lead teams are coming to terms with the fact that they don't necessarily always behave as a PLC, meaning around those 2 main purposes, although it's good quality work. And they're like, I didn't know that's not exactly a PLC. So getting that common understanding and vocabulary will go a long way. The other thing I just wanted to point out is if you know much about adult learning, one and done, it does not do it. And if you only look at what's here in front of you with the contract, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. We've already had questions from some of our district leadership team members, I think it was last week, that said, so are we going to have like coaching around it during the school year? How are we going to continue to learn? And so I just want to make sure that everybody here knows that this is not phase 1 and done. This is phase 1 of probably about 3-4 phases, where we also perhaps train trainers, where we can help ourselves then, and also do some coaching with them, either virtually or in person. So it is job embedded professional learning as we learn to function in that highly effective PLC model. And now I'll stop, take any questions you have. And Erin, it's nice to meet you. You're one I haven't met yet, so it's nice to meet you. And I do oversee curriculum and instruction for our district, so nice to meet you. Yep. Questions?
And you mentioned it's not one and done,
Mhm.
and there'll be other phases. there'll be other requests then probably coming to the board? Or does this encompass that training you're talking about doing to help
Right,
ourselves as
yeah.
a district?
Right now, this is specifically for 4 days, 2 for administrators and some other perhaps leaders in our district, because we have so many seats in June. So our administrators first having some training 2 days, and then 2 days in the fall, August 18th, I believe it was, and September 2nd, with teachers and administrators and beginning the learning. So to answer the question, it is just for the beginning. I don't foresee the price tag on the rest of it being near this. This is a strong start. When we can take and bring 4 consultants for our 200 and some people, I think we're gonna get a very good return for our investment up front if we manage it that way. So less money later, but we may be coming back. You're welcome.
What kind of time frame will the 3 or 4 take place over? A year, 2 years?
I think that decision probably will be made as we go,
As
to
you
be
go.
honest, Amy, but I can say that it would be at least 2 years of our learning, right? Not exclusively, but 2 years of our learning, because we're gonna have to practice that PLC and the structure that we'll bring with it. So I'd say at least 2 years, that learning. Other questions?
Some of this learning that will take place at those our early out days and some of our professional development throughout the next school year.
I would say it's very possible. I won't say 100% for sure, and the only reason I say it that way is, once we get established with these 4 days, I wanna relook at what are the needs for the buildings. So not doing necessarily, everybody in our district is gonna do this on Wednesday afternoons, but it certainly may involve some Wednesday afternoons, and if we do some webinar coaching from the company, that'd be a great place to have it. I won't say every single thing, though, will be in those Wednesday early outs.
Probably a great example of when the learning will be practiced, though, on the Wednesday early outs, because oftentimes, buildings do meet in their PLCs. So, that's really, the structure of early outs or late starts really came to be when the PLC movement was born, because the biggest problem was that staffs didn't have the opportunity to meet in PLCs unless you were meeting outside of the school day, which people have lives and that's hard to do, and or you pay them and it costs money. So it really fits. It really fits well with the early out schedule anyway. So it's at minimum, it'd be great practice time for what they're learning.
And also on some of those early out days, there'll be other learning that takes place too that is absolutely great learning, just not a PLC structure of learning. So to say it will happen exclusively Wednesday, it might be early outs, it might be some planning days for teachers that are in a PLC together that can do that. So they make a very big point of to have it once, to have it scheduled every time. It's going to happen more often than that, I guess is my point, as they get together and start really using this model.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Dr.
very
Jones.
much.
All right. We have a light agenda tonight, so we are back to the second time during our agenda, comments and suggestions from anyone in the audience, or if anyone online has chimed in. Hearing none, we'll go on to our action items. 9.01, SBRC funding request for SWVPP enrollment.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve or request the School Budget Review Committee for funding related to the fiscal year 2022 SWVPP increased enrollment in the amount of $75,883.50 as part of the district's response to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson? Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffield?
Yes. 9.02 Core and Press Inc. Training Services Contract.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Hendricks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Corwin Press Inc. for the training services and materials as presented for a total cost of $62,290.05.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffield?
Yes. And items of interest or future board meetings. Our next board meeting will be February 21st at 6:30 p.m. Anything else we need to mention?
Just a reminder, that's a no student day in the district. Not that that really matters to anyone, but just FYI, so it doesn't throw you a curve. Since it seems like a long weekend as far as school related. And, but we still have the board meeting that night.
Okay. Anything else? It was a quick meeting tonight. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? I guess you can stay for a while.